Good afternoon and welcome to Smart Success Stories. My name's Jim Pizzey. I'm the technical director here at HBXL. I've been working for the company for around 11 years and more recently I have been the developer on both HBXL and on the integration between HBXL and PlansXpress. Today's webinar is going to focus on the PlansXpress software. So just before we go into the interview today with one of our users, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the PlansXpress software. It's the first CAD software specifically designed for builders, so you don't need to have CAD or drawing experience. We've made it intuitive and easy to use. You can use it to produce architect quality plans, elevations, and in conjunction with HBXL, full specification notes for planning applications and building regulation submission. It boasts a photo visualizer plugin to produce impressive photorealistic stills of your building. It even allows you to drop in a photo of your site to put it in context. So if, for example, you were putting an extension onto an existing house or a garage onto an existing house, you could drop in a photo of that existing building, and you could add on the extension or garage that you've designed straight into it and merge it into one photo. You're also able to import existing plans that you may have into PlansXpress to trace over it. So if your customer's already had plans drawn up and you need to produce a 3D model and an estimate from them, or if you're getting some plans from an architect, say, bring it in, trace over it, you've got the 3D model, and it automatically produces an estimate for it in conjunction with HBXL. So that's a very brief overview of the PlansXpress software. Today, we're going to hear from Mark at MJ Building Services. He bought PlansXpress along with HBXL and Health and Safety Expert in 2013. He very quickly upgraded and has now got the full suite of software from us. We've recorded his interview in advance due to his hectic work schedule. This interview is with Adrian Wild, who's the Managing Director here at HBXL, and Joanna Mulgrew, who's the Product Development Director. And I'll just start that for you now.
Hello, my name's Adrian Wild. I'm the MD of HBXL. Today I'm with Joanna Mulgrew, a director in HBXL who's deeply involved in the development of the software and our business and marketing. And we also have Mark Jones from Penryn in Cornwall, who runs a business called MJ Building Services, with us on the phone today. Mark's been using our software for, I'm not quite sure how many years, no doubt he'll tell us. And I think from my notes, he's got most of them. So again, he can tell us which software he's actually got. Hopefully today we're going to focus particularly on PlansXpress, but no doubt the conversation will roam around the other products. So, hi Mark, thanks for taking time to meet us today on the phone to discuss the software. How are you today?
Yeah, lovely, thank you.
Yeah, how's business? Have you had a good summer in Cornwall?
Yeah, we've had a dry summer, which has helped us progress and catch up after last winter with all the rain that we had. So.
Oh yes, yeah. So you're busy, are you?
Yeah, we're very busy with lots of different ranges of developments, from new build right through to renovation. So. All
right. So you do new build, a few home extensions and renovation, do you?
Yeah, we cover everything within the construction industry. We employ all our own staff,
right.
including M&E. So yeah, it's a good section of the business.
How many guys have you got working in the business?
There's 33 on site, and then 6 in the office.
Oh, it's just about the same size as the business I ran when I was extending and house building. So yes, you're very busy, I've no doubt.
Yes.
Takes a lot of doing to keep the work flowing through. So, going back to the software, what software packages do you have and use day to day?
We got PlansXpress, Estimator Express, Contract Expert, Health and Safety Expert, project expert. I think we've near enough got the full range.
Right, great. And did you use them, most of them, day to day then?
Yeah, we use everything day to day. All our contracts managers, site agents use obviously the health and safety element every day with constant on-site changes. Myself being the senior contracts manager, I use PlansXpress along with the 2 QSs in our office.
Yeah.
I use it a lot more for doing some detailed drawings and some branch offs from the DWGs that we get provided by certain architects, so that the lads have got on site have got a little bit more detail. And the same, you're always changing your M&E, your electrical positions and things like that. We like to give our clients a plan at the end of the job of exactly where we run all the wiring, the plumbing, etc., and where all their sockets are, showing 2 ways and intermediates 3 ways and everything else. So it's a handy product.
Yeah, great. Do you use PlansXpress for tracing over drawings and originating drawings, or how do you use it?
Yeah, we use it. Our QSs obviously do all that in the office.
All the trace over?
Yeah, they use most, I would have said probably 99% of our jobs we use the tracing program within PlansXpress. It gives you because you still get some drawings that aren't as specific as what we would like on site. So with PlansXpress, our QSs can add in any missing information that they want to add, knowing how we run the business and how we run the sites.
Right.
So with PlansXpress, you've got all that option, and you don't need to have a degree in how to run AutoCAD.
Right.
Have you used AutoCAD then, Mark, before? Is that something that you'd use?
I used it briefly, probably about 5 years ago. But it's, to be honest with you, it's overcomplicated. And knowing what site agents and that are like, if you gave it to them, they probably, if you give them a laptop with AutoCAD on it, they probably use the laptop as a hopper. Instead of trying to draw with it.
Make a good spot board, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but with PlansXpress, it's, no disrespect, I'm not a computer whiz kid, but I get on with the system very well, and there's so many different options within all the menus that you can basically draw anything, even if you wanted to draw your own cross-section drawing or anything. You can do all that within PlansXpress. You don't have to use part of the tracing program. You can draw your own cross-section to give your men more information if you need it.
Oh, great. Excellent stuff. So how long have you been using the software?
I think we've been using PlansXpress and that now for approximately 3 years.
Right, okay. Has your business grown in that period?
Yeah, we've grown dramatically. When we first purchased the software, because I was more hands-on at that time, I needed a program that would give me the ability to be out on site and spend less time pricing, etc. So we looked at, we had another software previously which didn't help me. So we transferred to HBXL. With this software, and it's made my life a lot easier. We went from 8 to 10 men up to what we've got now, and we're continually expanding.
Blimey. So when you say you were on site, were you actually laying bricks or cutting up pieces of wood, or were you managing?
Yeah, I was a carpenter and erecting a lot of timber frame. We have a timber frame business as well. Yeah. So I was erecting timber frames, operating cranes and things like that. So it gave me the time in the evenings. I could sit down for a couple of hours and I'd be able to price a job within a couple of hours using this software.
Right. And how long had it taken prior to that?
You're sitting down doing spreadsheets. You probably spend a week in doing it by evenings and probably a Saturday trying to price it.
Right. So that's a huge difference, isn't it? It just means you can take that many more inquiries on, doesn't it?
Yeah, our office we average probably half a dozen inquiries a day.
A day?
And
My goodness.
The general turnaround on the quotes in our office, complete and back to the client after a site visit, is generally about 3 days.
Blimey. And do you use the quote wizard to present to the client, or do you do it some other method?
No, we use everything within the program, within Estimator.
Right.
We use the whole lot.
Yeah.
All the stage payments, calculators, everything that's within those programs is all we now use.
Right.
Obviously, we personalised it for us.
Yeah.
And altered little bits. So, Cornwall's a little bit different than other places. You have to explain things a bit differently. So, but we've done all that, which takes an hour. And once it's done, and you can print them off every time then without having to mess around with it too much.
So right. you were saying, Mark, that you obviously your background wasn't in computing. So how did you get on learning to use the software in the first place? And what was that kind of like?
No, it was good. Luckily we had a good contact with HBXL and part of PlansXpress. If I got stuck on anything, I could make a phone call, and within 2 minutes, it was like, right, okay, yeah, that's fine. But yeah, no, I picked it up and done most of it. I didn't have any of the training at all. But our QSs have. Yeah. We did have you guys come. We had you guys come down for a couple of days and train the QSs in the office just to go through it, more to pick up the shortcuts than actually using the software. The software is so easy to use and it's straightforward. If you can read, you can use the software.
Oh well, thank you for that. That's good to hear. I'm glad that the business support team have been there for you. Obviously, that we do pride ourselves on the support, because we realise that if you've got a quote to get out or something, it's very business critical what you're doing. So you can't afford delays and waiting for someone to phone you back half a day later, what have you. So. That's good to hear. Sorry, back to you, Adrian. I was interrupting your flow there.
No, that's fine. I mean, to me, Joe, I think that Mark's given us a pretty good overview, really, of how it works. I mean, we could talk in detail about the project expert or whatever. Have you any thoughts on Project Expert? Do you use that regularly?
Yeah, I use it every day.
Do you? Right.
I'm currently on a site of development of 5 houses.
Yep.
Which we completed one just after Christmas. One of the ones the house I'm building at the minute is 632 square meters. A very high-end house, and obviously there's a lot of elements in it, and I need to tie up to make sure my deliveries come in on time for materials. So I use Project Expert linked back into Estimator. So if I make any changes within Project Expert at the time scale of any of the jobs, or we get delayed on something, I can then upload that back to Estimator, and it will alter the dates on the order schedule within the reports.
Right. Yeah.
So we then obviously send that back to the office, to our purchasers, and then the purchasers can go, right, okay, well, they don't want that today. They aren't going to want it today. They want it next week now. Okay, we'll alter that without us having to make 20 phone calls. It's all done in a simple process.
Yeah.
And it's good to send to the client. You can send the client the PDF of the schedule report, which shows what percentages you've finished and where you are with the job. So it's good, and it's good for the costings and everything else. So it's really well.
Do you think having that sort of quite structured approach makes your business more cost effective and better? Has it tightened up your management, do you think?
Yeah, it has. You don't have so much wasted time, and you haven't got wasted. A lot of times you get materials turn up, and if they turn up early, you've got nowhere to put them. You end up getting damage. You get wastage. With the constant use of the Project Expert and linking it back into Estimator, then you can keep altering your order schedule, so things are actually turning up when you want them to turn up.
Yeah.
Great.
Brilliant. So that's a real example of kind of the smart working that we talk about at HBXL, kind of tightening everything up process-wise, and not having to, again, as you're saying there, not having to re-enter data, because you're just bringing back the project schedule from Project Expert into HBXL, and it's recalculating it for you. So it's you've obviously got to put those amends into Project Expert, but then it flows back into HBXL without you having to retype everything up. And I guess
a lot of it is, it's just a matter of dragging the bars on Project Expert. If you look at it and you think, right, we've had a bit of wet weather, so we're a week behind on the timber frame, or say the roof trusses or roof coverings, all you do is you just slide your bar across to where you think, right, okay, if we're a week behind, we'll move it over a week. It's as simple as that. It's just a click of a mouse to do it.
Yeah.
And then press the button to transfer it back to Estimator.
Great. Well, it's good to hear. Somebody who's getting all the benefits of all the packages. It's how we'd conceived it, so it's good to get that feedback.
Could you imagine running your business without the software now, Mark? Would that be possible, do you think, with the scale of how things have grown and what have you?
No, I think if we didn't have this software now, I'd be employing probably another 4 people, 2 alone just on this job, to try and nail it, which it isn't cost effective. You need the system, you need the software to do it properly. I couldn't imagine pricing any jobs or anything anymore without this software. Like I mentioned, we had a previous software, but there wasn't any flexibility with it.
What was that package?
Easy Price Pro.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
We had that for 3 years, and one, we couldn't use the management software within it. It never worked properly. And 2, it was more set for up country. There was no breakdowns in the materials for what you get down here. There was, for example, within PlansXpress, you've got, with the wall build-ups, you've actually got stone as part of the cavity structure, where within the other software, you didn't have that. It was block or brick, and that was your choices.
Yeah.
And down here, we use a lot of granite, and we use a lot of different stone, because that's the way Cornwall is. So, but within PlansXpress and Estimator, it is in there. Yes, obviously there's a lot of different grades of stone, so you need to input those costs into Estimator pricing library, but other than that, everything is there, and it does do the right job.
Yeah. So do you think it's using the estimating has saved you any money at all, or is it just making things more accurate generally, or both?
Yeah, no, it has saved us money because we're slightly different. We also have a big warehouse, and we run our own trucks, our own lorries, and everything else. Now, obviously, with having Estimator, it'll group all the materials that you need for that job, for the whole job. So the job may be done in different processes, but instead of you look at it and think, right, we only need 4 bags of sand to do the foundation block, but then hang on a minute, we'll need more to do the rest. Okay, it's cheaper then to get it in bulk instead of having it in big bags. So with it being able to do that within Estimator, it simplifies it and it saves you a lot of money because you obviously buying it in bulk, you get it at probably half the price.
Yeah, great. Well, that's a really good note, I guess, to conclude on. Is there anything, Adrian, that you wanted to kind of ask Mark? Or Mark, anything else you want to tell us before we wrap up? Because I know you're both incredibly busy.
Well, the only other thing, obviously, we haven't touched on at all was the 3D imaging in PlansXpress. We find that is a big selling point when you do your quotes and everything in that way, and you send the quote to the client. Because if you can send them a 3D image of what you've drawn using the trace program, and they can see what it's going to look like, it sells itself.
So what you're doing is you're using PlansXpress to trace someone else's drawing, say from another architect. You've traced it in. That's then providing the cost and the quotation from Estimator Express, and then you've got the 3D photo visualizer bolt-on then to PlansXpress. I'm gathering from what you're saying, and you run that plan then through that and put that with the quote to the customer. Just paraphrasing you here. So you're putting that 3D photo visualization of the project from the other architect's plans and are able to present it back to the customer and say, look, this is what we're going to be building. Here's your quote. That's what it's going to look like.
Yeah, that's correct. And it's the other good thing, obviously we use that as a big part of it, it's a big selling point, but also with having PlansXpress and being able to trace over and get the exact image of what the previous architects had drawn, is we print a lot of blank copies and send them to the client once the job is confirmed for electrical layouts.
Yeah.
So we send a key, obviously within the menu in PlansXpress there's a key for electrical items. We send that to the client and we generally number the key, and then we say to the client, right, you write on the plan where you want your sockets, your light switches, what rooms you want downlighters, what rooms you want pendants. So then they've done that. They send that back to us. Our QSs will then actually input the symbols onto the drawing, and then we send that back to the client with a little signature box, and we say, right, are you happy with that? Yes, sign it. Then there's no confusion at the end of the job. It takes out a lot of, I dislike the word, variations.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
If you can nail it at the beginning and get all that out of the way, one, it saves you time because you know exactly what you're doing. When you're doing it, you can come in and get on with it. But it also saves that horrible thing of at the end of the job you're going, well, obviously we never allowed for that, never allowed for that. So here's an extra bill. You've done all that in the previous process by giving them the information to sign off.
Yeah, and I guess that must improve the build program because there isn't that lag of partway through a project, putting the customer on the spot saying, look, I need a decision on X or Y, and they're saying, well, I haven't even thought about where the sockets are going to go. I'll give me a day or two and I'll have a think about it, and so that then obviously cascade effect on everything. So every decision they need to make, whether it's about the sockets or whether it's a bath or a shower they're putting in, or the layout of the kitchen, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's exactly. It just simplifies everything. For example, the job I'm on at the minute, the client wanted an extra window put in on one of the elevations, and the architect was away on holiday. So I said, well, look, leave it to me a minute. So I uploaded the plans in within PlansXpress, and I actually put the new window in where we wanted it dimension-wise, and we sent that because we needed it for the timber frame to be made. So we needed to make sure the window placements were right and things like that. So instead of him having to go and get the architect to do it, we did it. We had the software on site, we did it, and it was exactly the same as the architect would have done it.
So that's, I guess, saved you a little bit of cash on the architects and giving you a bit of control that you can just do it yourself, get on with it, and get the client to sign that change off.
Do you find yourself doing more design and build, Mark, these days?
Yeah, you always try and do what you can if there's ways of doing it. But, even if we get the architects to design the basic layouts, we'll use those drawings. And with having PlansXpress, you can change whatever you want to change. Yeah. I'm a great one for moving things. I've got 3 houses here, which we're building this development for ourselves and selling them. Since I had the architect do the original design for me, I've probably changed the drawings 5 times since, and I haven't even got them out of the ground yet.
Yeah.
But you've got that option with PlansXpress. You're constantly looking at new things on the market and thinking, well, if I add that, I can, it'll bring more value, or make us a little bit more money on something else. Yeah.
So do you do much origination of plans with PlansXpress, or is it really kind of like editing or scanning and tracing?
Yeah, we do some. There's a current job at the minute which we're doing. It's only an extension, but yeah, no, we're doing it from scratch. We designed it with the client, and again, our QSs, who obviously they're not trained architects, but they know the software inside out now. They're doing all the design, and they've sealed it. They've got the job, and I'm happy. So
I think that's what tends to happen with a lot of builders. They start off as a scan and trace process, and then sort of wake up one day and think, well, hang on a minute, I can design that. Particularly if you've got a library of your own houses, you can think, well, I can use that house I did on that other job and just, move the bathroom or stretch it a bit, and suddenly you've saved yourself a couple of grand on architect's fees.
Exactly.
And you haven't got to wait for them to, originate them and then amend them, and all the mucking about that goes on as they fit you into their schedule rather than the other way around.
Yeah, we also use it a lot. You always get clients when it comes to the landscaping elements. Until the house is built, they don't know exactly how they're going to set things out. Then you'll get them and come and say, right, well, I want a patio there, I want some decking here. Instead of going and spending half a day measuring it all up and pricing it, they say, right, we want this size, we want it there. You drop in the PlansXpress, upload a fresh drawing, and you can draw a patio, you can draw a decking in less than 5 minutes. And you've got it into estimator, you've got it costed, and you've gone back to the client and said, yeah, you can have that. Generally, they're still on site. They haven't had a chance to get on site, but you've costed it and said, right, that's still what it's going to cost.
You look amazing. That must really impress customers.
You sound as though you've got the stuff for fine art. Very impressive.
Yeah, no, it is a brilliant system.
Great. Okay.
Well, on that note, we should probably let you get off, Mark. But we really appreciate your time and sharing with us how your business has been, using the software. And I know you've also got the health and safety expert and contracts expert from what you were saying at the start of the conversation. But I guess we'll talk to you those perhaps another day in more detail about how you use those. But really good to chat. Anything else from you, Adrian, or should we wrap?
Thank you very much, Mark. It's given me a nice warm feeling listening to how you're getting on, and I'm glad it's helped your business.
Okay, so now that you've heard how the software has contributed to a smart builder's success, you may well have some questions on how it can work for your own business. Please get in touch with us using the contact details on screen, and we'll be happy to discuss your needs and how the software can be of benefit to your business. Thank you for your time this afternoon. We look forward to speaking to you more about our software suite very soon.